Sellers aren't dunking on buyers, buyers aren't dunking on sellers in this market. It's nobody's market, it's fairly balanced. How's it going, guys? I'm Christopher McGee. I'm the owner of Halcyon Real Estate. We're affiliated with the Keller Williams Market Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Today is the 5th of the 5th month of 2025. It's May 5th. And this is the numbers and the nuance where you come every week in order to know exactly what Utah's housing market is moving like and looking like right now. I'm gonna go over exactly what I think our market is doing, what it looks like. I'll give you my nuanced opinion first, and then I'll jump into the data. I'll show you the charts with the information on various data sets moving over several weeks, moving over the last couple of quarters, so that you can see what the trends are doing right now. And it's a lot of numbers. It's a lot of multivariate analysis, as it should be done if it's being done properly. And so if it's a lot, just remember that I've made a video that describes in better detail each of these numbers, each of these data sets, and what each of them means for you if you're a buyer, and what each of them means for you if you're a seller. I've got that video flag at the top right of the screen, so you can check that out at your convenience. Right now, let's jump right into what I'm seeing in our market. Okay, this week I'm gonna try and say from a slightly different angle something I've been saying for most of this year so far. And that is that if we look at the state of and the trending direction of our inventory, the number of homes that are on our market for sale, the difference between our average list price and our average sold price, and the number of weekly price reductions that we are having in our market right now, we may well deduce that this is a buyer's market. All of those things are trending in favor of buyers right now, and they have been for most of this year, and they just keep trending that way. However, if we look at the state and the trending directions of our average days on market, the amount of time it takes for a seller to accept an offer and go under contract, the number of homes selling each week, and the number of homes going under contract every week, then we may feel pretty sure that we are looking at a seller's market. And the last few weeks might leave us feeling fairly unsure about what to deduce from our average list price and our median list price, and interest rates can throw a wrench in our models, whether they go in one direction or the other. And this is why I keep saying Utah's housing market is in a great place right now. Sellers aren't dunking on buyers, buyers aren't dunking on sellers in this market. It's nobody's market, it's fairly balanced. Now, I could talk for too long about why some numbers trend in buyers' directions and why some numbers trend in sellers' directions right now, but you've got a life to live, and I try to keep these relatively short. So let's jump into looking right at the numbers. Okay, here's exactly where things are in the Utah housing market as of the 5th of May 2025. Our current inventory stands at 11,932. That is up from the prior week, and it continues to trend up. The prior week's average days on market came to 52. That is up a touch from the previous week. This continues to trend down. Prior week's average list price came to $737,967. That's up a little sharply from the previous week, still continuing a slight downtrend. Last week's average sold price came to $728,028, making the difference between average list price and average sold price again in the buyer's favor to the tune of $9,939. Now, last week's median sold price came to $542,750. That is relatively sharply up from the previous weeks that most of this year we've been hovering at around $500K for median sold price, but that jumped up this last week as well. Still nearly a $200K difference between average list or average sold and median sold. Last week, the number of homes that sold in Utah came to 756. That is up somewhat dramatically from the previous week as well. That's trending strongly up. The number of homes currently under contract stands at 5,499. That's down from the previous week for the first drop we've seen in this data set this year, still certainly continuing its uptrend though. The prior week's price reductions, the number of price reductions we had last week came to 1,271. That's down from the previous week, still trending up though. Last week, the number of listing contracts that were either canceled, expired, or withdrawn came to 513. Up as we would expect it to spike for the first of the month report on this data set, still trending down overall. And interest rates right now for a 30-year fixed rate conventional loan stand at about 6.9%. That is up a touch from last Monday, still trending down very slowly from the beginning of the year. We started this this year at about 7.1%, jumped in a week or two to 7.24, and it has trended down from there. And that is it for this week, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about any of the numbers I present or how I get them or what I'm making of them, feel free to hit me in the comments. I'm going to be happy to respond. If you or anybody you know is thinking to move, either buy or sell real estate here in Utah in the coming months or anytime this year, I hope you're comfortable reaching out to me. I'm going to be happy to hear from you. And as I do with all my clients, I'm going to make sure you're well educated on the now market. I'm going to make sure you know what's happening next in the course of your transaction. I always want you to feel like you've hit the easy button when you're working with me. And finally, if you want to stay up to date on Utah's housing market, there will be no better way than to hit that subscribe and stay up on it with me from week to week. Thanks for watching this week, guys. Bye-bye, bye-bye.